Captain Li Wu-jin moved through the thick green forest like a shadow. His boots made no sound on the soft ground covered with strange purple leaves. The trees on planet Kepler 442b were twice as tall as Earth trees, and their bark glowed with a soft blue light that helped him see in the dim alien sunlight. Behind him, 4 of the best soldiers Earth had ever trained followed in perfect formation. Sergeant Park Ji-ho carried enough explosives to level a small building, but walked so quietly that even the alien birds did not notice him. His dark eyes constantly scanned the forest, looking for threats or opportunities to blow things up, which was his favorite hobby. Corporal Kim Da-yoon held her sniper rifle like it was part of her body. She could hit a target from 2 miles away in a snowstorm while blindfolded. Her teammates joked that she was half human and half targeting computer, but they stopped joking when she saved their lives in Syria by shooting an enemy sniper through a keyhole from 800 meters away. Private First Class Choi Min-soo carried medical supplies and communication equipment on his back. He could patch up a bullet wound with dental floss and bubble gum, then hack into enemy radio frequencies to order pizza to their location just to confuse them. His gentle face hid a mind that worked like a supercomputer when people were bleeding. Private Yoon Hai-won looked like she should be in college studying literature instead of carrying enough weapons to arm a small country. She was only 22 years old, but could kill a man with a paperclip and a rubber band. Her teammates called her the baby killer, not because she hurt babies, but because she looked like a baby who could kill anyone, stupid enough to threaten her friends. The mission was simple. Intel reported that alien forces were building something big in this forest. Earth Command wanted to know what it was. The Green Berets were the best at sneaking around and finding out secrets that other people did not want them to know. They had done this kind of work in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and North Korea. Now they were doing it on an alien planet 40 light years from home. Lee raised his fist, and the team stopped moving. They had been walking for 6 hours through terrain that would make a mountain goat nervous. The gravity on this planet was lighter than Earth, so they could jump higher and run faster, but the air was thicker and smelled like rotten eggs mixed with vanilla, which made breathing interesting. Through his binoculars, Lee could see a clearing ahead. Strange metal structures rose from the ground like silver trees. The buildings had no windows or doors that he could see, just smooth surfaces that reflected the purple sky. Energy readings on his scanner were off the charts. Whatever the aliens were building, it was using enough power to light up New York City. He hand-signaled to his team. Kim Da-yoon moved to high ground where she could see everything through her rifle scope. Park Ji-ho found cover behind a fallen log and started thinking about where to place charges if they needed to blow things up. Choi Min-soo set up his communication equipment and began scanning for alien radio. Chatter Yoon Hae-won disappeared into the shadows like smoke ready to appear behind any enemy who threatened her team. The alien base was bigger than their intelligence reports suggested. Dozens of structures covered the clearing connected by walkways that glowed with the same blue light as the tree-bark alien vehicles that looked like flying metal fish moved between buildings carrying supplies and personnel. Lee counted at least 50 different alien species working together, which was unusual because most alien races hated each other. Through her scope, Kim Da-yoon could see guards walking patrol routes around the base. They carried energy weapons that glowed red and wore armor that looked like it was made from beetle shells. The guards were tall and thin with 4 arms and heads that looked like upside-down triangles. She whispered into her radio that she could take out 12 guards before they knew what hit them. Park Ji-ho studied the base construction and decided he could bring down the whole thing with charges placed at 6 key points. The alien builders were smart, but they did not understand human demolition techniques. He smiled as he calculated blast patterns and shockwave dispersal. His teammates said he was crazy, but crazy people made the best explosives experts. Choi Min-soo picked up alien radio chatter on 17 different frequencies. The aliens were excited about something called Project Dominion, which sounded ominous in any language. His translation. Software was having trouble with some alien words, but he understood enough to know they were planning something big and bad for Earth Yoon. Heywan moved through the forest like a hunting cat. She found 3 more guard posts that the team had not spotted from their original position. The aliens were being very careful about security, which meant they were protecting something important. She marked target positions and escape routes in her mind, while staying invisible. Lee was about to signal for the team to move closer when the sky exploded with light. Alien ships appeared from nowhere, dropping out of hyperspace directly above the forest. The ships were huge black triangles that blocked out the purple sun. Each ship was bigger than an aircraft carrier and bristled with weapons that could turn a city into glass red energy beams shot down from the ships, turning trees into ash and smoke. The aliens had been waiting for them. This was a trap. Earth intelligence was wrong, or someone had betrayed them. Either way, the 5 Green Berets were about to fight for their lives against impossible odds, which was exactly the kind of situation they trained for. Kim Da-yoon started shooting before Lee could give orders. Her rifle cracked like thunder, and alien guards began falling with holes in their heads. She moved her position after every shot, staying ahead of return fire. Her teammates could hear her counting kills over the radio like she was keeping score in a video game park. Ji-ho triggered his first explosive charge, taking out a guard tower and 6 aliens in a shower of metal and smoke. The explosion echoed through the forest like the voice of an angry god. He was already running to his next position with charges in both hands and a huge grin on his face because nothing made him happier than controlled explosions. Choi Min-soo tried to call for backup, but alien jamming signals blocked all communications to Earth. He switched to recording mode to capture everything for later analysis if they survived. His medical training kicked in as he treated a cut on his arm from flying debris while still monitoring alien radio frequencies. Yoon Hae-won appeared behind 3 alien soldiers like a ghost with anger management issues. Her knife moved so fast it looked like she had 8 arms instead of 2. The aliens fell without making a sound. She vanished back into the shadows before their bodies hit the ground. Energy beams from the ships carved burning lines through the forest. The air smelled like ozone and burning alien flesh. Lee realized they were completely outnumbered. The aliens had planned this ambush perfectly. They knew exactly when and where the human team would arrive. But Green Berets never surrender. Even when surrender is the smart thing to do, they kept fighting as more alien soldiers dropped from the ships. The forest became a war zone with explosions and energy beams turning night into day. Lee felt proud of his team as they fought against impossible odds. The end came quickly. Stun beams hit them one by one. Kim Da-eun fell first, still trying to line up one more shot. Park Ji-ho went down while reaching for another explosive. Choi Min-soo collapsed while trying to send a final message to Earth. Yoon Hae-won lasted longest because she was hardest to find, but even she could not fight 50 aliens alone. As consciousness faded, Lee made eye contact with each team member. They all understood without words. This was not over. These aliens had made a big mistake. They thought capturing 5 humans would be easy. They were about to learn why Earth soldiers never give up. Lee Woo-jin woke up with a headache that felt like someone was using his skull for drum practice. His vision was blurry, but he could see glowing blue bars in front of him. The energy cage hummed with power that made his teeth ache. The aliens had put each team member in separate cells arranged in a circle so they could see each other but not touch or talk easily. The prison facility on Nexus Prime was built into a massive asteroid floating in deep space. Through the transparent walls, Lee could see stars and the purple glow of a distant nebula. The aliens wanted their prisoners to feel small and hopeless, surrounded by the endless void of space. But they did not understand that Green Berets found hope in hopeless situations, Commander. Vel Tar of the Centauri Alliance walked into the prison block wearing a uniform covered in medals and ribbons. He was tall and pale with silver skin that reflected the cell lights. His 4 eyes studied the humans like they were interesting insects. He had requested these particular prisoners because Earth soldiers had a reputation for being unusually difficult to break. The alien commander stopped in front of Lee's cell and spoke in perfect English, which was disturbing because it meant they had been studying humans for a long time. He wanted to know about human military tactics, weapon systems, and the location of Earth's secret bases. Lee gave him the same answer he would give anyone who asked those questions: his name, rank, and serial. Vel Tar tried different approaches over the following days. Sometimes he was friendly and offered better food and comfortable beds. Sometimes he threatened torture and death. Sometimes he showed holographic images of Earth cities and claimed his fleet would destroy them if Lee did not cooperate, but Lee had been through interrogation training that made alien threats seem like bedtime stories. In the cell next to him, Park Ji-ho was having his own conversations with alien scientists. They wanted to understand how humans made explosives so effective. The aliens had bigger bombs and more powerful weapons, but somehow human soldiers always found ways to cause maximum damage with minimum resources. Park smiled and told them jokes in Korean instead of answering their questions. Kim Da-eun spent her time studying the prison guards and their patrol patterns. She noticed that each species of alien had different strengths and weaknesses. The tall gray ones could see in multiple light spectrums, but were nearly deaf. The short furry ones had excellent hearing but were colorblind. The insectoid guards were very strong but moved in predictable patterns. Choi Min-soo was fascinated by the alien medical scans they performed on him every day. The aliens wanted to understand human physiology and how soldiers could function under extreme stress. But the medical equipment also gave him information about the prison structure. He learned that the facility had weak points in the power distribution system and backup generators that could be overloaded. Yoon Hae-won appeared to be meditating peacefully in her cell, but she was actually practicing combat techniques in her mind and planning how to kill guards with improvised weapons. She had already figured out 17 ways to turn a food tray into a deadly weapon and was working on number 18. The aliens thought meditation meant she was broken, but they did not understand Korean military training. The breakthrough came. On the 7th day, Kim Da-eun had been watching the power fluctuations in her energy cage. Every hour at exactly the same time, the field would flicker for less than half a second during automatic power cycling. The aliens probably thought this was too brief for any prisoner to notice or use, but they had never dealt with a sniper who could calculate bullet trajectory while falling off a cliff. She had been working on a piece of metal scraped from her food tray, making it sharp and conductive. The metal was harder than Earth steel, but she used patience and determination to shape it into a tool. During one of the power fluctuations, she jammed the metal piece into the control panel. The energy field sparked and died, leaving her free to move. Kim moved through the prison corridors like a shadow, using her sniper training to avoid detection. The facility was designed to hold the galaxy's most dangerous criminals, but the architects had not considered someone with her specific skills. She could predict guard movements, calculate sight lines, and find blind spots in any security system. She reached Park Ji-ho first because his demolition skills would be crucial for their escape. He was awake and waiting because real soldiers never sleep deeply in enemy territory. She whispered the escape plan through the ventilation grate in his cell, and he grinned like Christmas morning had come. Early Park had been studying the prison construction during his captivity. The aliens built everything to last forever. But they did not understand that anything built by intelligence could be destroyed by greater intelligence. He knew exactly where to place charges to create maximum chaos with minimum resources. Kim freed him during the next power fluctuation. Together, they moved to rescue Choi Min-soo, who had been waiting for this moment since their capture. He had memorized guard schedules, power systems, and communication protocols. The aliens thought medical scans were harmless, but they revealed structural weaknesses that could be exploited by someone who understood both medicine and engineering. Yunhai Wan was ready when they reached her cell. She had been exercising in ways that looked like meditation, but actually prepared her body for combat. The youngest team member was also the most dangerous in close quarters because she fought with the fury of someone protecting her family. Captain Lee was last because he was held in the highest security section with additional guards and monitoring systems. But his team moved through the facility like ghosts, leaving unconscious guards and disabled security systems in their wake. The aliens had superior technology, but humans had something they lacked: the ability to think creatively under pressure. The team regrouped in a maintenance tunnel where Choi had discovered a weakness in the prison structure. They could hear alarms starting to sound as guards found their unconscious colleagues. The facility was going into lockdown, but it was too late. The 5 humans were free and angry. Park placed his first charges at key structural points, while Kim provided overwatch from elevated positions. The aliens had designed their prison to be escape-proof, but they had never encountered human military ingenuity. When logic said something was impossible, humans found ways to make it possible anyway. Choi hacked into the prison computer system using knowledge gained from his medical scans. The aliens used biological identification for security, which was useless when someone understood how to fool biometric scanners using medical equipment. He opened doors, sealed blast barriers, and triggered false alarms throughout the facility. Yoon moved through ventilation shafts, appearing behind guards like a nightmare. They would see movement in their peripheral vision, but when they turned to look, she was gone. Only the unconscious bodies of their colleagues proved she had been there at all. The escape was not just about getting out. It was about sending a message to every alien in the galaxy about what happened when you captured Earth soldiers. The team left a trail of destruction that would take months to repair. Disabled security systems, destroyed equipment, and very confused guards who could not understand how 5 primitives had dismantled their advanced facility. Lee coordinated the chaos while fighting toward the command center. The aliens expected prisoners to try sneaking out quietly, but Green Berets had a different approach. When surrounded by enemies, you do not hide. You attack everything at once until the enemy is too confused to stop you. Commander Vel Tar watched his perfect prison falling apart around him. The humans were supposed to be contained and studied like laboratory specimens. Instead, they were systematically destroying everything he had built. His career was burning along with his facility, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. The team fought their way toward the landing bay where dozens of alien ships waited. They had started as prisoners destined for experimentation. Now they were free soldiers with access to enemy equipment and a galaxy full of targets. The aliens were about to learn why Earth had never been successfully invaded. The alarm sirens screamed through every corridor of the prison facility like angry metal birds. The red emergency lights made everything look like the inside of a volcano. Lee and his team moved through the chaos with deadly purpose. They had been prisoners for 1 week, but now they were soldiers again, and the entire galaxy was about to remember why Earth had never been conquered. Kim Da-eun reached the landing bay first by climbing through maintenance shafts that were barely wide enough for a human. The aliens who designed this place were larger than humans, which meant their maintenance tunnels were perfect highways for someone her size. She emerged behind a stack of supply crates and immediately began calculating shooting angles that day. Landing bay was enormous, with a ceiling that disappeared into shadows. Dozens of alien spacecraft sat in neat rows like sleeping metal dragons. Some ships were small and fast-built for reconnaissance. Others were massive cargo haulers that could carry entire armies. The variety of alien technology was impressive, but Kim was more interested in how many guards she could eliminate before they spotted her park. Jiho came through the main entrance because subtlety was not his specialty. He carried improvised explosives made from prison equipment and alien technology. His grin was visible even in the red emergency lighting, because nothing made him happier than the opportunity to blow things up on an industrial scale. The guards who tried to stop him learned that human creativity could turn anything into a weapon. Choi Min-soo accessed the landing bay computer systems from a security station he had captured by convincing the alien guard that he needed medical attention. The guard had been unconscious before he finished the sentence. Min-soo was gentle and kind, but he was also a Green Beret, which meant he could switch from medic to warrior faster than most people could. Blink Yoon Haiwan appeared in the middle of a group of alien soldiers like death wearing combat boots. They never saw her coming because she moved through shadows like liquid darkness. The guards had energy weapons and advanced armor, but none of that mattered when someone could kill you with bare hands before you realized she was there. Captain Lee coordinated the assault while fighting through waves of reinforcements. The aliens kept sending more guards, but they were fighting on human terms now. Guerrilla warfare chaos tactics and the kind of creative violence that made Earth soldiers legendary throughout the galaxy. The aliens had superior numbers and technology, but humans had something they could never understand: pure, stubborn refusal to surrender. The first explosion came from Park, who had rigged charges under a fuel depot. The blast shook the entire facility and sent alien guards diving for cover. Fuel lines ruptured and began spraying flammable liquids across the landing bay floor. Park was already running toward his next target with more explosives in his hands and joy in his heart. Kim started shooting from her elevated position with the precision that made her famous among Earth military circles. Her rifle cracked like thunder, and alien guards began falling. With perfect holes in their heads, she moved position after every shot, staying ahead of return fire, while her kill count climbed steadily. The aliens tried to coordinate a response, but Choi had hacked their communication systems and was sending false orders in perfect alien languages. Guards ran in circles, chasing phantom threats, while the real humans systematically destroyed everything important. He had learned alien computer protocols during his medical examinations, and now used that knowledge to turn their own systems against them. Yoon fought her way through the heavy security checkpoint that protected the command ships. The aliens had posted their best warriors there, but they had never faced someone who treated combat like an art form. She moved between energy blasts like a dancer, flowing from one kill to the next with movements too fast for alien eyes to follow. Lee realized they had an opportunity to do more than just escape. The aliens expected them to steal one ship and run away. But Green Berets did not run away. They escalated situations until the enemy regretted ever meeting them. He made a decision that would change everything. They were not just escaping, they were declaring War Park-rigged explosives throughout the landing bay while his teammates provided cover. The charges were placed with mathematical precision to create a chain reaction that would destroy the entire facility. He had studied alien construction techniques during their imprisonment and knew exactly where to hit them, where it would hurt. Most Kim found a sniper position that gave her oversight of the entire landing bay. She could see alien reinforcements trying to enter through multiple access points. Her rifle spoke again and again, each shot eliminating a key target or cutting off an enemy advance. The aliens had never encountered precision shooting like this and began to panic. Choi discovered that the alien ships used similar control systems because the Galactic Council required standardized interfaces. Human fingers were smaller than most alien appendages, but that just meant he could access controls faster. The aliens designed their ships to be simple for multiple species to operate, which made them easy for humans to steal. Yoon cleared a path to the command ships by eliminating every guard who tried to stop her. The aliens sent their best warriors, including some species that were legendary for their combat skills. But legends meant nothing against someone who had been trained by the best military in the galaxy and had the determination of someone fighting for her family. The team converged on a group of medium-sized warships that looked fast and deadly. Kim identified the flagship by its advanced sensor array and heavy weapons. Park placed his final charges at key structural points throughout the facility. Choi began the startup sequence for multiple ships. Yoon secured their escape route by eliminating the last guards. Lee made the final decision about which ships to take. They could steal one vessel and escape quietly, or they could steal several ships and send a message to the entire galaxy about what happened when you messed with Earth soldiers. The choice was easy, because green. Berets did not do anything quietly. The escape began with Park detonating all his charges simultaneously. The explosion started at the fuel depot and spread through the facility like the wrath of an angry god. Metal twisted plastic, melted and alien. Technology burned. The blast wave shattered windows throughout the prison and sent shock waves through the asteroid. Kim provided cover fire as alien reinforcements tried to stop them from reaching the ships. Her rifle never stopped firing, and aliens kept falling. The few shots that came close to hitting her teammates were answered with return fire that eliminated the shooters immediately. She had become death incarnate with perfect aim. Choi got 3 ships powered up and ready for flight, while alien technicians tried to shut down the landing bay systems. But he had spent a week learning their computer protocols and knew their systems better than some of their own engineers. The ships lifted off smoothly, despite alien attempts to stop. Yoon cleared the landing bay of remaining threats by eliminating guards who tried to use heavy weapons against their stolen ships. The aliens had rocket launchers and energy cannons, but none of that mattered when someone could get close enough. To kill the operators before they could fire, Lee coordinated their departure while alien fighters scrambled to intercept them. The prison facility was burning behind them, lighting up the asteroid like a funeral pyre. Their escape had become a statement that would be heard across the galaxy. No species could capture Earth soldiers and expect them to stay captured. The team flew their stolen ships in formation toward their next target. Commander Veltar watched helplessly as his perfect prison burned, and his prisoners escaped with a fleet of council warships. His career was over, but that was the least of his problems. The 5 humans were loose in the galaxy with alien technology and nothing left to lose. Behind them, the prison facility continued to burn. Other prisoners from dozens of alien species escaped in the chaos, but most of them just wanted to go home. The humans were different. They were not running away. They were preparing to fight back. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you declared war on Earth. Captain Lee Woo-jin stood on the bridge of his stolen Centauri warship, watching the prison facility burn in his rear viewports. The explosion had been beautiful in the way that only complete destruction could be beautiful. Park Ji-ho had outdone himself with the demolition work. The entire asteroid was cracking apart like an egg, and pieces of alien technology were floating through space like glowing confetti. Through the communication system, he could hear his team reporting from their own stolen ships. Kim Da-eun had taken control of a fast attack vessel designed for reconnaissance and assassination. Park was flying a heavy bomber loaded with enough firepower to level a city. Choi Min-soo commanded a technical support ship filled with electronic warfare equipment. Yoon Hai-wan had somehow figured out how to pilot the largest ship in the fleet, a battle cruiser that could take on an entire enemy squadron. The plan was simple in the way that all good military plans were simple. They would not just escape and hide like common criminals. They would make the Galactic Council regret ever hearing the word human. The aliens wanted to study Earth military tactics, so the team would give them a practical demonstration of human warfare that they would never forget. Lee had been studying star charts during their imprisonment and knew exactly where to strike first. The Council maintained a major military base at Proxima Station, a fortress that guarded one of the most important trade routes in the galaxy. The The base was supposedly impregnable, defended by thousands of alien soldiers, and protected by energy shields that could stop asteroid impacts. But the aliens had made a critical mistake when they designed their defenses. They had planned for attacks from outside enemies, not from stolen council ships flying in formation and broadcasting proper identification codes. The base would welcome them as returning heroes until it was too late to stop what came next. Kim reported that her ship's sensors showed no pursuit yet. The aliens were probably still trying to figure out what had happened to their perfect prison. The few surviving guards would be telling stories about 5 humans who fought like demons and disappeared, like ghosts, but no one would believe them until it was too late. Park was having the time of his life learning to fly alien technology. The controls were different from Earth aircraft, but the basic principles were the same. Point the dangerous end at your target and pull the trigger. His ship carried missiles that could crack open a moon, and he was eager to find something that needed cracking. Choi had already hacked into Council communication networks and was feeding false information to their military commands. He sent reports about pirate attacks, rebel uprisings, and mechanical failures that would keep alien fleets busy chasing shadows while the real threat moved freely through their territory. Yoon was discovering that alien warships were easier to pilot than Earth vehicles because they were designed for multiple species with different physical capabilities. The controls were simple and intuitive, which meant a human could master them quickly. Her battle cruiser was armed with enough weapons to fight a small war, and she intended to do exactly that. The journey to Proxima Station took 3 days, during which the team studied alien technology and planned their attack. The ships they had stolen were marvels of engineering, with faster-than-light drives, energy shields, and weapons that could cut through solid rock like butter. But all that technology was useless without the will to use it effectively. Lee realized that the aliens had a fundamental weakness in their military thinking. They relied too heavily on technology and not enough on human factors like courage, determination, and the willingness to sacrifice everything for victory. Earth soldiers understood that weapons were just tools, and the real weapon was the person using them. As they approached Proxima Station, the team could see why the aliens considered it impregnable. The base was built into a massive asteroid surrounded by defensive platforms and patrol ships. Energy shields shimmered around the entire complex like soap bubbles made of lightning. Hundreds of alien vessels moved in patrol patterns that looked impressive but followed predictable routes. The base commander was a Vegan named Zul Mora, who had never lost a battle in 40 years of military service. His fortress had withstood siege by 3 different alien empires and earned a reputation as the most secure military installation in the galaxy. But Zul Mora had never faced humans who specialized in doing impossible things. Kim used her reconnaissance ship to map the base defenses while staying hidden among the regular traffic. The aliens were so confident in their security that they barely bothered to scan ships with proper identification codes. She found weak points in their shield grid and patrol routes that could be exploited by someone with the right skills. Park studied the base structure and calculated where to place explosives for maximum damage. The aliens had built their fortress to last forever, but they had not considered someone who understood both engineering and creative destruction. He identified targets that would create cascading failures throughout the entire facility. Choi continued feeding false information to Council military networks while preparing electronic warfare attacks that would blind their sensors and jam their communications. The aliens trusted their technology too much and did not realize that any system built by intelligence could be defeated by greater intelligence. Yoon positioned her battle cruiser where it could provide covering fire while appearing to be just another patrol ship. The aliens saw what they expected to see, which was exactly what she wanted them to see until the shooting started. Her ship carried enough firepower to reduce the entire base to scrap metal. The attack began at exactly midnight station time, when most of the alien garrison would be sleeping. Lee had learned that most alien species required more sleep than humans, which gave them a significant advantage in night operations. The element of surprise, combined with superior human tactics, would overcome any technological disadvantage. Kim struck first by eliminating the sensor platforms that monitored approaches to the base. Her ship moved like a ghost through the patrol routes, taking out detection equipment with precision shots that left the aliens blind and confused. They knew something was wrong but could not figure out what was happening. Park followed. By bombing the main shield generators with missiles that turned sophisticated alien technology into expensive fireworks. The energy barriers that had protected the base for decades collapsed in minutes, leaving the fortress vulnerable to direct attack. His laughter echoed through the communication system as explosions lit up the asteroid. Choi jammed all alien communications and flooded their networks with false information. Garrison commanders received contradictory orders, emergency signals, from non-existent threats and reports of system failures throughout the base. The aliens began fighting shadows while the real attack continued unopposed. Yoon opened fire with her battlecruiser weapons that had been designed to fight other capital ships. The base defensive systems tried to respond, but they were built to stop attacks from outside, not from council ships broadcasting friendly identification codes. Her first salvo destroyed 3 defensive platforms and crippled the main command. Center Lee coordinated the assault while fighting his way through swarms of alien fighters that scrambled to defend their base. The enemy pilots were skilled and their ships were fast, but they had never encountered human tactical thinking in aerial combat. He used techniques learned from Earth dogfighting aces to turn alien technology against itself. The battle lasted 6 hours and ended with Proxima Station burning like a second sun in the darkness of space. The supposedly impregnable fortress had been reduced to scrap metal and floating debris. The few alien survivors would tell stories about 5 human demons who appeared from nowhere and destroyed everything they touched. But the team was not finished. They had captured dozens of alien ships and thousands of tons of military equipment. The base had been a major supply depot for Council forces throughout the sector, and now all that equipment belonged to Earth soldiers who knew how to use it effectively. Word of the attack spread through alien communication networks faster than light. The Galactic Council had suffered its worst military defeat in recorded history. 5 primitive humans with stolen ships had destroyed a fortress that was supposed to be unconquerable. The psychological impact was even greater than the physical damage. Lee looked at the burning remains of Proxima Station and smiled. The aliens wanted to study human military tactics, so he was giving them a comprehensive education in applied warfare. The lesson was simple. When you declare war on Earth, you get soldiers who will never stop fighting until you surrender or die. The team regrouped their growing fleet and prepared to strike their next target. They had proven that alien technology was no match for human determination. Now they would teach the galaxy that Earth soldiers never forgot their friends and never forgave their enemies. 3 months after their escape from prison, the 5 Green Berets had become the most wanted fugitives in galactic history. Their faces appeared on wanted posters in 17 different languages, and 12 alien species had placed bounties on their heads high enough to buy entire planets. But bounties only mattered if someone could collect them, and no one had even come close to catching the human team captain. Li Wu-jin stood in the command center of his flagship, studying reports from across the galaxy. The ship had once belonged to a Centauri admiral who made the mistake of trying to capture human prisoners. Now it served as the mobile headquarters for the most effective military force the galaxy had ever seen. 5 soldiers and a growing fleet of captured alien vessels. The humans had developed a strategy that confused every alien military theorist in the Council. They struck hard and fast at military targets, but avoided civilian casualties. They destroyed supply depots, communication arrays, and command centers, but always gave non-combatants time to evacuate. They fought with rules, but those rules were designed to maximize psychological impact on their enemies. Kim Da-yoon had become a legend among alien military forces as the ghost sniper who could appear anywhere and eliminate targets from impossible distances. Her reputation was so fearsome that some alien commanders refused to leave their bunkers when human ships were detected in their star systems. She used this fear as a weapon just as deadly as her rifle park Jiho had turned demolition into an art form that alien engineers studied and feared in equal measure. He could destroy military installations that were supposed to be blast-proof, using explosives made from common materials found on any alien world. His signature was the artistic way he arranged the debris after each explosion into patterns that spelled out rude messages in Korean Choi Min-soo, had become the master of electronic warfare against alien technology. His medical training helped him understand alien biology well enough to design psychological warfare campaigns that exploited the specific fears and weaknesses of different species. He could turn entire enemy fleets against each other with carefully crafted misinformation. Yoon Hae-won led boarding parties that captured enemy ships through pure combat skill and tactical brilliance. She had developed a reputation as the baby-faced death angel because she looked like a college student but fought like a mythological war goddess. Alien soldiers would rather surrender than face her in close combat. The team had rescued dozens of human prisoners from other alien facilities, and each rescue operation became a recruiting opportunity. Earth colonists who had been captured or enslaved joined their growing fleet, bringing knowledge of alien territories and burning hatred for their former captors. The humans were no longer just 5 escaped prisoners. They were becoming an army. Their base was a captured alien space station that they had turned into a mobile fortress using salvaged Council technology. The station could jump between star systems faster than alien pursuit fleets and carried enough firepower. To fight entire enemy squadrons, Lee had named it Fort Defiance because defiance was the most human quality he could think of. The psychological warfare was working better than anyone had expected. Many alien species began questioning whether fighting humans was worth the cost. Stories spread throughout the galaxy about soldiers who could not be killed, captured, or reasoned with. Some alien worlds started secret negotiations with Earth governments, bypassing the Council entirely. The Galactic Council had mobilized 12 major fleets to hunt down the human team, but every engagement ended in disaster for the aliens. The humans used tactics that no alien species had ever encountered. They would appear where least expected, strike with overwhelming force, and disappear before reinforcements could arrive. Lee studied the latest intelligence reports that Choi had intercepted from Council communications. The aliens were becoming desperate and starting to make mistakes. 3 different species had withdrawn from the Council alliance after suffering heavy losses in battles against the human fleet. Internal conflicts were tearing apart the alien coalition. Kim reported from her reconnaissance mission to the Vega system, where she had eliminated an entire alien intelligence network. The Council was trying to infiltrate Earth colonies with spies and saboteurs, but human military intelligence was proving superior to alien espionage. Her sniper skills had been adapted for assassination work that left alien spy networks paralyzed with fear. Park had just returned from a demolition mission that destroyed the Council's main weapons manufacturing facility on Rigel Prime. The explosion could be seen from orbit and would set back alien military production by at least 2 years. He was already planning his next target, a shipyard that produced the Council's fastest attack vessels. Choi had hacked into the alien military academy networks and was spreading propaganda that portrayed humans as unstoppable warriors. The stories were not entirely false, which made them more effective. Young alien recruits were deserting rather than face the possibility of fighting Earth soldiers. The Council's military was suffering from recruitment problems. For the first time in centuries, Yoon led a boarding party that captured a Council flagship during the Battle of Proxima III. The enemy crew surrendered without firing a shot because her reputation preceded her. The ship's captain asked to be transferred. to a prisoner of war camp rather than remain on the same vessel as the legendary human warrior. The team had learned to use alien technology against its creators. Human creativity combined with council weapons created combinations that alien engineers had never imagined. Park could make alien missiles do things that violated their design specifications. Kim had modified alien rifles to achieve accuracy that their manufacturers claimed was impossible. But the real victory was not military. It was political. The council was fracturing, as member species began to doubt the wisdom of fighting Earth. Diplomatic communications intercepted by Choi showed growing divisions between alien governments. Some species wanted to continue the war. Others wanted to negotiate. Peacefully realized they had reached a turning point. The aliens were no longer trying to capture or study humans. They were trying to survive the war they had started. The galaxy was learning that Earth soldiers did not just win battles, they won wars by refusing to accept defeat under any circumstances. The team received a priority message from Earth Command through encrypted channels that had taken months to establish. Communication across interstellar distances was difficult, but the message was clear. Diplomatic negotiations were beginning, and the Council wanted to discuss terms for peace. The 5 soldiers had accomplished something that Earth's greatest military strategists thought was impossible. They had fought the entire Galactic Council to a standstill, using nothing but captured equipment, determination, and the kind of creative violence that made human soldiers legendary throughout the galaxy. Standing on the bridge of his flagship surrounded by alien technology, operated by human crews, Lee felt proud of what his team had achieved. They had started as prisoners destined for experimentation and slavery. They had become the architects of a new balance of power in galactic politics. Kim joined him at the command center, carrying her rifle like always ready for the next battle. Park was in the engineering section, making improvements to their weapon systems that would make alien engineers weep with envy. Choi monitored communications from across the galaxy, listening to aliens argue about what to do about the human problem. Yoon appeared silently beside them because moving without sound was one of her many talents. She had been training new recruits in hand-to-hand combat, and the lessons were enthusiastic, if occasionally violent. The former prisoners and colonists were becoming real soldiers under her guidance. The war was not over, but the tide had turned. The aliens had learned that humans were not primitives to be conquered or specimens to be studied. They were warriors who would fight until victory or death, and who became more dangerous the longer the fighting continued. Lee looked at the stars through the main viewport and wondered what the galaxy would look like when the war ended. Humanity had earned its place among the stars through courage, intelligence, and the unbreakable bonds of soldiers who refused to abandon each other. The team had proven that sometimes the best defense was a good offense, and that human military excellence could overcome any technological disadvantage through determination, creativity, and teamwork. The aliens would remember this lesson for the rest of their existence. Word came through the communication system that another council fleet was approaching. Their position, Lee smiled and gave orders to prepare for battle. The aliens apparently needed another lesson in human warfare, and his team was always happy to provide educational opportunities. Captain Lee Woo-jin received the message that would change everything while standing in the command center of Fort Defiance, watching another council fleet burn in the distance. The transmission came through quantum-encrypted channels that had taken Earth Command 6 months to establish across interstellar space. The message was simple, but earth-shaking. Peace negotiations were beginning, and the Galactic Council wanted to end the war. The 5 Green Berets had spent 8 months turning the galaxy upside down with nothing but captured alien ships, determination, and the kind of creative violence that made Earth soldiers famous throughout the universe. Their campaign had destroyed dozens of military installations, eliminated thousands of enemy combatants, and most importantly proven that humanity would never submit to alien domination. Kim Da-eun lowered her rifle for the first time in months when she heard the news. The weapon had become like an extension of her body during their war across the stars. But now there might be a chance for something other than constant fighting. Her kill count had reached numbers that would make military historians argue about accuracy. But she was tired of counting alien casualties. Park Ji-ho was almost disappointed that the fighting might end because he had been having the time of his life blowing up alien military installations with increasingly creative demolition techniques. His latest project involved turning an entire asteroid into a bomb, but peace negotiations meant he might not get to test it. The galaxy would be safer but less entertaining. Choi Min-soo felt relief because maintaining electronic warfare against an entire galactic civilization was exhausting work. He had been monitoring alien communications in 17 languages while simultaneously running psychological operations that kept enemy fleets chasing shadows. His medical training helped him understand that even super soldiers needed rest. Eventually, Yoon Hae-won cleaned her knives with the systematic care that had kept her alive through dozens of boarding actions and close combat situations. She had become a legend among alien military forces, but legends were heavy burdens to carry, especially when you were still young enough to dream about normal life. The journey home would not be simple because half the galaxy still wanted them dead. The team commanded a small fleet of captured alien vessels and several hundred rescued humans who had nowhere else to go. Getting everyone safely back to Earth would require the same kind of careful planning that had made their military campaign successful. Lee studied star charts while calculating the safest route through Council territory. Aliens controlled most of the major hyperspace lanes, but humans had learned to use minor routes that larger fleets could not follow. Their ships were fast and their crews were experienced, but they would be vulnerable during the long journey home. The first surprise came when they reached the edge of Council space, where a delegation of alien ships waited under a flag of truce. The fleet was commanded by Admiral Keth Vora of the Andromedan Republic, who had been hunting them for 6 months, but never managed to catch them. The Admiral wanted to escort them safely to Earth as a gesture of respect. Keth Vora explained through holographic communication that many alien species had secretly admired their military campaign. The humans had fought, with honor avoiding civilian casualties while proving that courage and intelligence could overcome superior technology. Several alien governments wanted to establish diplomatic relations with Earth directly. The journey through alien space became a victory parade as more species joined their escort. Each star system they passed through had stories about the 5 human soldiers who changed the balance of power in the galaxy. Some aliens wanted to learn human military tactics, others wanted to trade with Earth, and a few wanted to hire human mercenaries. Kim spent the journey training alien officers in marksmanship techniques that combined human intuition with alien technology. The students were eager to learn because her reputation as the ghost sniper had spread throughout the galaxy. Her teaching methods were unorthodox but effective, which seemed to be true of everything humans did. Park shared demolition techniques with alien engineers who were fascinated by his creative approach to destroying things. The aliens had bigger bombs and more powerful weapons, but they lacked the artistic vision that turned destruction into a form of communication. His explosive messages had become legendary throughout Council space. Choi worked with alien communication specialists to establish translation protocols that would prevent future misunderstandings between species. His medical background helped him understand the biological basis for different forms of alien intelligence. The galaxy needed better ways for species to communicate before more wars started. Yoon trained alien soldiers in hand-to-hand combat techniques that emphasized speed and precision over brute force. Many alien species were physically stronger than humans, but few could match human flexibility and tactical thinking. Her students learned that size and strength meant nothing against proper training and determination. The team discovered that their war had inspired other species to question Council authority. Several alien governments had withdrawn from the alliance and started forming new confederations based on mutual respect rather than domination. The humans had accidentally triggered the largest political reorganization in galactic history. They approached the solar system. Lee felt emotions he had not experienced since their capture. The blue-green dot of Earth grew larger in the view screen, and he realized how much he had missed the planet that created soldiers capable of fighting. The entire galaxy, Sol System defense fleets moved to escort them home, but they were allies now, not captors. Earth had changed during their absence. The planet had become the center of diplomatic activity as alien species competed to establish relations with